Hey guys, how y'all doing? The girl Ruth. Welcome back to another little series. Well, this one I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while, and especially since last year. It's been on my mind before that time. My lotion, my grease I made for my hair, make my hands soft as well. But yeah, midwives and the placenta. But I'm gonna talk about the midwives first and the stuff that I found on the midwives. I mean, and midwives and placenta. But the midwives, the reason I'm concerned about that, well, actually, my last daughter that I had the pleasure of midwives delivering my baby. Big difference between a male doctor and a woman doing it was a big difference. I don't know if it has to do with because a man can't feel the pain and a baby, the whole 9 yards. I don't know what it had to do with, but they were gentle. Yeah, I guess because they're women, they understand, what I'm going through and all that kind of stuff. So they were gentle, they were sweet, they wanted me to participate in everything going on. And actually, I didn't have any pain because before I went to the doctor, I heard that you can take castor oil to make the baby come out faster because I was tired of being pregnant. That was my last baby. That's my sixth child, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to do that dumb act. Don't do that. And take some castor oil, and I started having contractions. Boo, 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 boo. So I thought I was going to the doctor. I went to the hospital, the whole 9 yards, but it stopped. So went back home. That was a flop. Still wasn't satisfied. So I was tired. I was ready to go back to work, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up taking some more castor oil. So that time it worked. So on my way there, the pain, I started praying, Lord, please don't let me have pain this time. I've been having so much pain with the other 5 kids. I can't take no more pain. Would you please not let me have any more pain? And he did. She did. They did. Whoever in charge. And I didn't have any pain. So they asked me, I don't know if I had, no, I didn't have a doctor. And they asked me, did I want a midwife? And that was the first time I was ever asked. And I was like, yeah, I want a midwife. I think they asked me. Anyway, so went there and they, like I said, they were very patient. I forgot how many women was in the room. And they were, real patient with me, asking if they were monitoring me and everything. They didn't have all that IV and all that. I don't think I had none of that in my arm that I could remember. It was 21 years ago, okay? And so they were just talking to me, you in the pain, and I was like, mm-mm. So they started saying, oh yeah, I was hooked to the machine, right? I was because they could tell the contractions. So every time I go into the contraction, I'll just be normally breathing, and they was like, "Didn't you just having a contraction?" And I was like, "I ain't feel it." And it's the machine showing that you having a contraction, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So then they say, well, yeah, you like 8 centimeters, or where they want to open my legs and stuff. And then they check, you like 8 centimeters. You're not feeling any pain. I was like, I prayed on that. And they told me I didn't have to have no pain. So I didn't have any pain. So as time went on, they started looking at the machine because they couldn't pay attention to me anymore. And they said, okay, you 9 centimeters, right? So they start saying, getting prepared for it. So then after that, they start saying push. And it was like my first baby. I had Asian doctor, and he had gave me this. What did he do? Yeah, he had gave me a shot through my IV, and I was so high to I didn't know whether to push or not. I didn't feel anything down here. So I felt like that again, and it was like push, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm pushing. I'm like, oh, okay. I feel the heaviness, and everything. They didn't give me no drugs and none of that. They didn't even offer that, and I was glad. But they said, okay, put your hand down here, feel her hair, because her hair, she was coming out. And I was like, if I want to do all that. So I touched her lip, but I was like, ooh. So my daughter coming downstairs. So after that, I start pushing it, and then she started easing on out, and they was, letting me look at it, and they was saying, look, I see and stuff like that, and participate in the whole ordeal because it's a beautiful ordeal, and I was smiling, and we was all smiling, and it wasn't like before I was tortured, like screaming and hollering and grabbing on the stuff and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so after that, I started wondering. I didn't think of asking them about the placenta, but it was always on my mind. What do they do with that? Because I was taught, seeing that it was something nasty. I just assumed that it was. I don't think I ever asked my mom. I don't know if she told me something about the placenta or not. I can't remember. But anyway, so that was cool. Okay, so let's go. We're back over here in 2021. Okay. What is it? No, 2020. So I was thinking, since all of that stuff happened in 2020, and before that, let's go before that, when they had that big storm and the whole medical center where I'm at was flooded out, and they had to move patients, the whole 9 yards. So, and it took a while for them to get it back in shape. They probably still working on it from that time. And so last year, by everything being shut down, and then a lot of times now you cannot go to the hospital because might catch something or whatever the deal is, or however they got it set up now. And I start saying, listen to my mom say about some things they did when they were coming up, and some things she did while I was coming up, because I'm from the old school. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, well, what about if that happens again? And women are having babies, because I did the Libra, the Taurus, Sun, Libra, um, rising series. One of them, either Libra or Taurus, whatever it was. And I mentioned that. I think I mentioned it on that one. That about if you can avoid it, try not to worry about getting pregnant right now, because we don't know what year was going off into the next year. It's a beautiful thing and all that. I'm not saying nothing like that. It's just that if you can, everybody can just hold off. Well, not everybody can't hold off, but you know what I'm saying. And kind of plan it, and let's see what's going to happen. But that's kind of impossible. So anyway, I start thinking about the midwives again. And I start saying, okay, now what is required to be a midwife, right? So I got some things that I put down. I took a picture of, kind of talk about a little bit. Let's see. Sometimes I overdo stuff, okay? So I understand if people don't listen to me. Let's see. Okay, the first thing I said, how to be a midwife. The Texas midwifer rules require midwife students to have a high school diploma or GED certificate. Why, I don't know, I guess, because you need to talk to the baby or something. I don't know. And current certificate from a healthcare um, provider, basic life support, BLS, and have CPR. Now that I agree with CPR. Everybody should learn how to do CPR. Matter of fact, I need to go back and do that myself. First aid. Please note, CPR certification must be either BLS for the healthcare provider American Heart Association. So that's in Texas where I'm at. Okay. And then I said, okay. Then I went midwife school education information. It says, how many years does it take to be a midwife? And it says it can take at least 8 years to become a CNM. But I was like, it take 7 years to be a doctor, if I'm not mistaken. So 8 years to be a midwife, whatever. 4 years for bachelor's degree, 1 year of nursing experience, and 3 years in nurse midwifery program. Some CNMs may take less or more time to gain certification and license. License, okay. Then I asked, what are the qualifications of a midwife? By the AMCB, the CNM credential qualifies APRNS to work as midwives. Candidates need RN licensure and at least a master's in nursing, although some opt for the doctorate degree instead. Graduate programs should hold accreditation from the ACNM Accreditation Commission of Midwifery Education. Okay, so then I asked, how hard is it to become a midwife? Studying to become a midwife is challenging but rewarding. Not only do you have academic content to learn, an assignment to complete, but you also have clinical requirements to meet, which include hospital shifts, evening and weekend work, and being on call for birthing women. Of course, you're going to get into that field, you need to do that. Or I didn't ask, can you go to a person's house? So I'm doing all this because I'm concerned that if everything shuts down like it did before, and a person is in labor, not just all the other issues that may arise, right? It's like, who's going to help the woman have the baby? So that was my concern right now. On that right there, someone having a baby, right? Um, okay, so then I look for, it says, can you be a midwife without a degree? Okay. And it says you must complete a degree course which has been approved by the Nursing and Midwife Council, NMC. If you haven't got the required grades and access to HE diploma in midwifery, will allow you to access universities and begin your midwifery career without qualifications. Okay, I understand all of that, you know, um, but what if somebody's my computer making some noise now? Can y'all hear that? What is the noise? Okay, maybe the answer back. But anyway, it's getting louder. Interesting. Hmm. Wow, it's like somebody walking. Anyway, so yeah, how you going? Somebody gonna know to deliver the baby if you hadn't taken all these courses? What should you do? So that's what I was concerned with. Maybe there should be somebody should show people. Well, I guess watching online, but if we have everything off, we have the internet off, and everything is off, how do a person know? So I just want to give some little tips. Maybe I can encourage everybody to start looking it up now in order for to help out later. It is really getting loud. Okay, YouTube, is that you? I can hear whoever in the background, so say something. You might as well. Anyway, so yeah, I thought this would be an interesting subject to talk about. Um, so we have, what is the average pay for a midwife? 63,000 per year, which is good. Okay. And it says more senior staff can move into executive levels and earn at least excess of $160,000 a year. And then it's $55 an hour uh, for 50 percentage certified nurse midwife salary, 75% certified for 60. It's 55, 62, and $69 an hour. Okay. And then it says, is a midwife a doctor? Is a midwife a doctor? No, a midwife is not a doctor. While licensed and certified midwives are highly trained, they cannot perform what they call it when they have to cut your stomach, C-sections on their own. They can prescribe labor-inducing drugs, but they are less. It said epidurals and labor-inducing drugs, but they are less likely to do so compared to doctors. Okay. Then I asked, do student midwives get paid? And it says, taking an exciting new route into midwifery and join a cohort of midwife apprentices employed in London and the Southeast. Your fees are paid by the employing trustees apprenticeship levy, and you will be paid the equivalent of maternity support worker for the duration of the course. Let me see, can I hear this song? Yeah, see what's really going on. Let's see. Oh, you can hear that. Y'all can hear that noise, huh? Okay. Anyway. Wow. So they don't want y'all to hear this. I touched on a subject that wasn't so good. Okay. It said midwife cannot, however, perform C-sections. If your birth calls for this or certain other procedures, your midwife will bring in an OB/GYN doctor to assist. Okay. And it says in PTO, let me see. Let me write the word. Oh, y'all so rude. Better say something when y'all doing all kind of crazy stuff in the world. OLEMATIC. This word right here. Times women from the noble class gave birth in birth houses that were attached to temples. The position that these women took when they delivered their babies was standing. They stand. I'm gonna have to, because they being very rude. Yes, you are. Just like the animals do somewhat. Standing, kneeling, squatting, and sitting on their knees, on their heels. 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 On burnt bricks or sitting on a burnt chair. Okay. Maybe I can see that right. Okay. And that was in ancient times. Okay. Then I asked, how did the ancient people, okay, how did they deliver babies in ancient times? During the actual birth, the mother would be moved to the birthing stool where she was seated or would squat on two large bricks with a midwife in front of her and females aides standing at her side. In a normal head first delivery, the cervical opening was stretched slightly and the rest of the body was pulled out. So the women assisted each other, okay? Then I put women's medicine. Let me see if I want to go there. I need to come back. This is, okay. Childbirth and was studied the physician in ancient Greece and Rome. The idea and practices during this time endured in Western medicine for centuries, and many things are seen in modern women's health. Gynecological and obstetrics were generally studied and taught mainly by midwives in ancient world, but eventually scholarly physicians of both sexes became involved as well. Okay. Care women and her offspring during pregnancy, birth, and okay, let's see. Midwives are distinctly different but overlap in medical practice that focuses on pregnancy and labor. Midwives emphasizes the normality of pregnancy along the reproductive process. Classical Antico saw at the beginning of attempts to classify various areas of medical research and the terms genealogical and obstetric whatever came to use. OB right, OBSTETICS. I probably can pronounce it later. Okay. So came to use the Hippocratic Compass, a large collection of treatises attributed to Hippocrates, features a number of uh, which dated to the classic period. Women as doctors. Okay, this is a woman who had to do some stuff to become a doctor. I didn't want to read on her yet. During Antiquity, there was no profession equal to that of our modern day nurse. No ancient medical sources discuss any sort of trained nurses, personal assistant doctors. However, many texts mention the use of slaves or members of a doctor's family as assistants. The closest similarities to that of a nurse during ancient time was a midwife. Midwife flourished in ancient civilization during Egypt, and this word right here, Byzantium, not this one. Okay. Um, Mesopotamia and Mediterranean empires of Greece and Rome. So that word right there. Okay. There were doctors within the Geo-Roman world who wrote favorable midwives. Her- Her- Herophus wrote a manual for midwives which advanced their status. This was followed by the work of the Greek, whoever that was, who was widely translated into Latin, was important gynecologist and is credited with four books describing female anatomy. He also discussed methods to deal with difficult births. The doctors within the Roman world who wrote the favorable midwife wrote annual for midwives which advanced their status. This was followed by the work of the Greek. Okay, let's see that one like this. Okay, work of the Greek. Okay, it's a little important, okay? Who was widely translated as Latin, okay, and Galen. Serenus was an important gynecologist and credited with four books describing female anatomy. He also discussed methods to deal with difficult births, such as using forceps. He states that for a woman to be an eligible midwife, she must be And this was in what year was this? 98 and 138 AD. A suitable person must be literal to be able to comprehend the art. It was the theory too. She must have her wits about her so that she may easily follow what is said and what is happening. Okay. Uh, she must have a good memory to retain and impart instructions, for knowledge arises from memory of what has been grasped. She must love work to preserve through all vicissitudes, for a woman who wishes to acquire such vast knowledge needs what I start. Many mainly patients. The most qualified midwife will be trained in all branches of theory. She should be able to prescribe hygienic regulations for her patients, observe the general and individual features of the case, give advice by recalling from previous knowledge what medical decisions would work in every case, and to be reassuring to her patients. It is not necessary for her to have had a child to deliver any woman's child, but it is good if she has been and labor to enhance sympathy with the mother. Okay. To obtain good midwifery habits, she will be well disciplined and always sober. And I worked at doctors, and they were going to drink at lunchtime. Can I eat a peach on that? And I worked around people who drove airplanes, the pilots. They also drink before they got ready to drive the airplanes. Okay, but she had to be sober, midwife. What if you somewhere and there's somebody on the street? Have a quiet disposition, sharing many life secrets, must not be greedy for money. Did they just say that? And you just gonna keep on making that noise, huh? Y'all so rude. Must not be greedy for money. Be free of superstitions, to not overlook salutary measures, keeping her hands soft by staying away from woolworking, as this may harden her hands, and use ornaments to acquire softness. That's interesting. Stay away from woodworking. Okay. Hardens. Yeah. Interesting to me. And use ointments to acquire softness. She too need to be respectable. The people of the household will have to trust her within their household. May not be handicapped in the performance of her work. Uh, what that stuff is. Long and slim fingers with short nails are necessary to touch deep lying information without causing too much pain. Midwives that acquire of all these will be the best midwives. A lot of rules. They didn't have none back in the day, right? They didn't need the men to make a rule on the midwife. I guess that's why y'all making a noise, because I knew I was going to say some stuff, right? Okay. Who delivered babies in ancient times? Not only were midwives involved in the birth of a child, but midwives provided aftercare, women's health care, and child care advance. French, 1986. Roman midwives were educated free women but men believe women were immodest and therefore best suited to be involved during a messy childbirth. Todman, 2007. Whatever. Okay. I don't want to get to the placenta yet. I want to finish the midwife. All that noise. Y'all need to stop. Okay, let's see. Ancient bird bricks found in Egypt. Wish I had some pictures. Maybe one day, y'all. You reached your limit of free Well, they use bricks at ancient times. They won't let me get in there no more. Okay. Native American customs of childbirth. I like this anyway. How did Native American women give birth, or what were their practices or beliefs in giving birth? Answer. In the 17th century, Dutchmen, whatever their name, described a woman's preparation for childbirth among the Mohawk and Mohican Indians in what is known now as New York. Wow, that's cool. Put that name. Let's see y'all see this here. Okay. That's it. Yeah, okay. Uh, Old New York. Interesting. Okay, let me read that again. Mohawk and Mohican Indians in what is now known as New York. He stated that pregnant women would depart alone to a secluded place near a brook or a stream of water. Check that out, by themselves, and prepare a shelter for themselves with mats and coverings, where provided with provision necessary for them. They awaited their delivery without the company of or aid of any person. They rarely are sick from childbirth and suffer no inconveniences from the same. So they didn't holler and scream or none of that. Ain't that something? Wow. So what did they do? Many similar descriptions of solidarity, painless birth exists among Europeans. So European people was in pain. Observers of the Native Americans, but because most of these observers were men, the men rarely attended the birth of children. These descriptions are probably inaccurate. Also, men say the women was all in pain and stuff, so they're not sure if it's true or not. But these women had no pain going out there to have a baby, y'all. Something. Okay. Although each indigenous culture had its own unique beliefs and rituals about childbirth, scholars believe that many First Peoples shared certain practices involving the participation of close family members and select others within the community. So y'all see where I'm going with this. That's why they're making the noise, getting on my nerves. My water with basil in it, balled and strained. Okay. During their pregnancies, women strictly restricted their activities and took special care with their diet and behavior to protect the baby. The Cherokees, for example, believed that certain foods affected the fetus. Pregnant women avoided foods that they believe would harm the baby or cause unwanted physical characteristics. For example, they believe that eating raccoon or pleasant would make the baby sickly, uh, or could cause death. Consuming speckled trout could cause birthmarks. Wow. And eating black walnuts could give the baby a big nose. Interesting. They thought that wearing uh, neckerchiefs while pregnant caused umbilical strangulations. Wow. And lingering in doorways slowed delivery. They had no pain while they had babies. Okay. Expectant mothers and fathers participated in rituals to guarantee a safe delivery, such as daily washing of hands and feet and employing medicine men to perform rites that would make deliveries easier. So I did good with my girl. Didn't even know it, right? That was that Native American coming out of me. That ingenuous. As the birth grew closer, women and their families observed other rituals to ensure an easy and healthy birth. 19th century anthropologist James Mooney recorded one Cherokee ritual intended to frighten the child out of the mother's womb. A female relative of the mother would say, "Listen, you little man, get up. Now at once. There comes there comes an old woman. The horrible old thing." Okay, there comes an old woman. The horrible old thing is coming, only a little way off. Listen, quick, get your bed and let us run away. Yeah, why you go? The female relative then repeated the formula, sustaining little women and your grandfather in case the baby was a girl. Van der Dock described the Mohican concoction made of root bark. Okay. Here's this word. Concoction. That's the word. Made of root bark that the mother drank shortly before birth, before labor began. Okay. Made of root bark. Mother drank before birth. Now, why did she drink that? Before birth began. A-N. Many ingenuous peoples use similar remedies. Cherokee women drank an infusion of wild cherry bark to speed delivery. I should have had that night. Cherokee women drank an infusion of wild cherry bark to speed delivery. Okay. So who said they did the first one? The Mohican women. Okay, that's the Mohican women did this one. Mohican women. C-A-N. Okay. Okay. Despite numerous descriptions of solitary births, other accounts describe births attended by a midwife and other close family members. Men were rarely allowed in the birth room, and they were never allowed to see the birth. A woman in labor stood, kneeled, or sat, but she never gave birth lying down. Wow. Why do they make us lie down when we having birth then? And then you start sitting, they put the tail up like this, but how did I have my baby? One flew out, two flew out laying down. I was on my way to the operating room. The other one I had to put my feet up and hold my feet up. But I didn't have to do that with the midwives. I was sitting up, yeah. But that's why they let me touch the baby. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Why do they make you lie down delivering a baby? Okay. Let me turn my fan on. Y'all tripping. What's y'all problem? Well, y'all, they don't want y'all to get this message. I didn't even know it was a mess. It was something I was curious about. Okay, let's see. But never gave birth laying down. Usually, no one bothered to catch the baby who fell onto leaves placed beneath the mother. Wow. Dock and Mooney describe post-delivery rituals in which the mother's ceremonial plunged the infant into the river. Hmm. Okay. An act they an, an act they repeatedly did daily for 2 years. Oh, it's like a baptism, a cleansing, because water is life. Was here first, purifying the baby. Okay, so that's where the church get the baptism from. Okay, I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm going off a little bit too much. Okay, the mother ceremony plunged. Okay, repeated there in 2 years. British Lieutenant Henry Timberlake, an envoy to the Cherokee in the mid 18th century, stated that this ritual made the children acquire such strength that no ricket or deform are found among them. Wow. Let's check that out, y'all. No rickets or any deformity. European description of Native American women quick recovery from childbirth may have been okay, so I don't know why I can't say this word. Exaggerated. But generally, Indian women's excellent physical conditioning certainly aided in their recovery from childbirth. So they took care of themselves so if they had their baby, they didn't have to worry about all that other stuff. I think they Chinese women, I was trying to find that how they birth, because they say they have it and then go back to work the next day. So I don't know how true that is. Bearing any serious complications, which of course did happen occasionally. Native American women returned to their regular duties in a very short period of time. Okay, it's interesting. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I got it. Oh, I did it twice. Okay. Anyways, and this one will open. Okay. Now, this person talking about humans from ape-like creatures that walk on four legs when early humans evolved to walk upon. This is what the theory of we were made from apes. Certain people were, not everybody. So I'm gonna read this for the other people. Okay. The history of childbirth, prehistory. Childbirth is a uniquely painful and difficult experience for humans. Quirks in our environment and development make giving birth more dangerous for us than it is for any other mammal, including our ape cousins. Humans are descended from ape-like creatures that walk on four legs. When early humans evolved to walk upright on two legs, our prevalence got smaller. Later, we changed again. Our brains grew larger and larger. It is this ratio of head to pelvis size that makes our birth so difficult and unlike other animal births. Another hypothesis is that childbirth became more difficult after humans began farming. Anthropologists first became suspicious when they found few infant skeletons in hunter-gathering barriers, but found a great deal of them in farming communities. A carbohydrate-rich diet made farmers shorter and fatter than hunter-gatherers, whose diets were more nutritious. This meant that women had even smaller pelvises and that babies became fatter in the womb, many births more difficult and leading to more fatalities for mothers and babies. Scriptural depictions of pregnant women are found in many prehistoric cultures. The significance of these sculptures and their use is unknown. However, the allegation of the female anatomy in such figures as the Venus of Wonderdorf, 26,000 BCE, Austria, Austria, suggests that they were are related to childbearing and female fertility. Perhaps these figures were thought to continue a spirit who, in addition to aiding in fertility, persuaded over other important facts of life, such as animals, land, home, and hunting. Other scholars speculated alternatively that they were worn by women as amulets or talismans to protect them during pregnancy and childbirth. So they all wore different things. Okay. Midwives and folk medicine. For such of history, though male philosophers and doctors frequently pontificated about pregnancy and childbirth, men were largely uninvolved in birth itself. In some cultures, men were forbidden to participate in or even watch childbirth. Okay, so if your wife having a baby and y'all can't, you have to have it at home. A man needs to know. That's why I do agree with a boy playing with a dog. The reason, because they need to know how to take care of children. All this male chauvinist BS need to stop because they don't even know how to be gentle. 90%, maybe even higher than that, don't know how to be gentle with their children, let alone the girls. Okay, they don't know how to change them. They put everything on the woman. But you let a woman play with the trucks, you let a woman play with the G.I. Joes, you let the woman play with everything, the little girls, but you will not let the little boy participate in what the little girl is doing. And you know that's reverse psychiatry. Ain't nobody stupid. Okay. And then separating the men from the women at young ages, making it a big problem for, you know, the gay, making the gay thing happen in the psychological mind. You're playing with people's head. That's why y'all making this noise. Y'all knew I was gonna say something, right? That's wrong. Kids should be able to play and learn everything because what? It's a profession too. Okay? They can find jobs in those things when they get older. As they get older, many countries teach their children, they help the parents bring money in by knowing how to cook and watch people, animals and children or whatever it may be. So there's also a profession. So why do we make it a gender thing? Why is it that's that reverse psychiatry? That's why so many men are having these gay thoughts because they were blocked from playing with dolls and playing with stuff that the little girl got in the color pink. Was pink is actually a man's color because as red mixed with white equals pink, and blue is actually a woman's color. Okay, the female color. Okay, but that's what happens in the brain. Y'all already know how to program people. Y'all already know. That's why y'all do this. Okay, thinking I'm mad. Okay. Anyway, men were forbidden to participate in or even watch childbirth. Instead of doctors and nurses, women were attended by relatives and midwives who supported them as they delivered and offered what remedies and strategies they could. The knowledge of midwife was passed on from one generation to the next by members of community. Eventually, books were published on the subject. In some societies, offspring midwives entered apprenticeships. Some midwives worked from time to time when needed in the community, while others traveled long distance from house to house and were employed regularly. If complications arose, they called for a local physician who assisted with his medical instruments. I'm pretty sure you wasn't around when they first did this back in the day, man. You didn't need no instruments because you start putting that against the skin and puncture needles in the skin, which should not be done. Okay, you make a whole nother issue for people mentally and physically when y'all use those instruments and you pump those needles in people. Y'all know this already. Y'all mess with the mind. Y'all been doing this since y'all been doing the DNA, mess with people's DNA. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay. What else stop Midwives were sometimes responsible for taking a child to their baptism while the mother rested. They also played a legal role in documenting when babies were born and who the parents were. Midwives knew about herbal remedies that could help pregnant women with a multitude of problems. They knew how to set up a room and position a woman for birth. If the baby was in the wrong position, midwives knew how to turn them. They would check the position of the baby by feeling the woman's stomach, and check how far the woman was dilated. Using oiled hands, they would help stretch the woman's tissues before delivery. After a child was born, they would stick around for about a month to help the mother with skills like breastfeeding. When a woman have a child, since we're not eating the right nutrients for this food y'all poison, making a laboratory, she needs somebody by her side, men. If you get a woman pregnant, wife, whatever, she needs your assistance. Okay. Apart from the advice of experiment young women, why do I always have to sacrifice or do some kind of stuff? Why y'all always got to do some stuff? Make some noise. Got to do something. When do I know? Find out who I am. Yeah. Apart from the advice of experienced women, childbirth and medicine in general was something of a wild west for a long time. Were told, for example, not to think strange thoughts. If you thought about about monkeys, say your children would be born hairy. Midwives, too, were sometimes accused of witchcraft if something went wrong with the pregnancy. Throughout history, midwives have been members of every social division, from the upper crust of society to the lower working class. Formal training and classes eventually became available to midwives. Now, see, they call that witchcraft. It might have been something she had to whip up. Bat's tail from a frog leg, you know what I'm saying? And they call that witchcraft. That's just a remedy that was taught from the beginning to help out. Okay. Despite the efforts of midwives, childbirth was risky for both the mother and the baby. In medieval times, as many as 1 in 3 women died during their childbearing years. It was so dangerous that young women would write their will when they discovered they were pregnant. Infection, postpartum hemorrhage, inexperienced midwife doctors, and obstructive labor were common cause of death. So they didn't know what they was doing. Scared poor girl, messed up some shit, whatever. So they blamed it all on the women. Birthing traditions across cultures. Stories of pregnancy and childbirth are sometimes featured in lot folklore and religion. Perhaps the most famous birth child story is the Christian narrative in which the Virgin Mary gives birth to Jesus in manger. Creation myth: the woman gives birth to 2 sons, one who creates all the good in the world, and another who creates all the bad in the world. The Greek goddess Athena was said to have emerged from a crack in her father Zeus' skull. In a Japanese fairy tale, the tale of Bamboo Cutter, a man finds a baby girl inside a stalk of split bamboo. Records of what it was like to give birth in different cultures across the world are slim due to the dominance of men as drivers of culture and the fact that women often gave birth behind closed doors. It is especially difficult to find descriptions of childbirth from middle and lower class. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's see. Chinese birth rituals. For the Chinese, the family is regarded as the primary unit of society. A birth within the family, therefore, holds special significance for the community and is associated with a number of rituals. Although traditional birth observance have largely given way to practical concerns, the importance of these evident continues to be marked by the practice of specific rituals. Prenatal birth rituals. Chinese prenatal birth observance involve both rituals of advance and protection so as to ensure the security of the mother and unborn child. Many rituals of avoidance are associated with the belief that the position of the fetus should not be disturbed in any way, and that failure to do so might result in a difficult birth. Miscarriages or injury to the child. Okay. Ex- Expectant mothers are therefore strongly discouraged from moving furniture or renovating a house during their pregnancy. In addition, they are urged to avoid activities such as digging, slaughtering, hammering, and looking at unsightly images, as these would lead to undesirable consequences. Yeah, we did. We couldn't raise our own because they said it messed with the umbilical cord and wrap around the baby's neck. Expectant mothers should also refrain from uttering words that were considered taboo or offensive to deities and spirits. How many people curse while they're pregnant? How many people think terrible thoughts? Because if you're going through mental when you're pregnant, it's going straight to your baby. So when you leaving these girls pregnant, you're affecting your child as well if you care about the baby. Because whatever she's going through, your baby's going to be going through. Okay? Some heads up. Okay? So if you don't care about the baby, don't take care of the mother. You got a pregnancy, you laid down there, whether that was your type, player, whatever the deal was, if you're going to take care of the baby, you got to make sure the woman is okay because it affects the child deeply. I'm here to tell you, because if she in any kind of way, in any kind of mental, that's going straight to that baby. And then they say it got to do with deities and spirits that are hook on in there as well. And you wonder why children are coming out some type of way, being around certain music, eating certain foods, running out your mouth, who around you talking that kind of talk, you talking to her like a fool, she talking to you like a fool, all that affecting your baby. Chinese mothers also abstain from certain types of food during their pregnancy that are believed to be harmful to the baby. For example, pregnant Cantonese women are warned against consuming mutton, as the Cantonese word for the meat has the same pronunciation as the word for epilepsy. Wow. Write that down, y'all. Okay, so Cantones women, Chinese, uh, mutton, not to eat mutton as the word sounds like epilepsy. Wow, that's how strong this is. On the other hand, high, write that down, HOK, are advised to, these women, are advised to avoid crabs as it is believed that doing so will result in the birth of a naughty child. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Literally born with as many hands as a crab. Oh, wait, cooling foods, which are associated with the reduction of heat or fertility, are also avoided as they may weaken the womb. Okay, so what is this? It says cooling foods, which are associated with reduction of heat, associated with reduction of heat or vitality, Vitality, are also avoided as they may weaken the womb. At the same time, it is believed that certain foods should be taken to help strengthen the womb and ensure smooth delivery. To give a, to give the child a smooth and fair complexion, expected mothers are recommended to take ginkgo fruits and strips of dried strips. of fried soy paste for interesting. Okay. Rituals of protection practiced by some Chinese families is the offering of prayers to the goddess of mercy, and Jin, Lady Golden Flower, to ensure the well-being of both mother and child. Interesting. I'm writing down anyway. Okay. Um, Postnatal birth rituals. The birth of a baby is usually followed by three customary rituals: confinement of the mother for a period of 30 days, ensure that she is fed an, an appropriate and nutritious confined diet, and making offerings to ancestors and deities. Okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, you know what I want to? The other one was how they put them. They let the baby fall out like the animal does into the leaves, soft leaves. I wonder why they do that without anybody touching them. That got to do with codependency, more freedom. You think why they didn't touch the baby and they let the baby come out on his own and fall down? It have to do with being free. Instead of in the hospitals, they hold the baby out. Interesting. Okay. Upon the birth of the baby, the mother is expected to remain at home during the zero rule or 30-day confinement period. Complete rest of faculties, her recuperation, and she is encouraged to consume certain foods, in particular a dash of grass pig's trotters with ginger and vinegar. These supposedly help the mother regain her strength, regulate her body temperature, and dispel air from the womb. Today's Singaporean, Japanese, Chinese families continue to observe all the three birth rituals to a limited extent. The demands of contemporary life, such as more women entering the workforce, the breakdown of extended family system, and the high expense of domestic health, have made it increasingly difficult for mothers to strictly practice these rituals. Yeah, so first month celebration. The Chinese regarded the completion of the full 30 days since birth as the first birthday of the child or its full moon. Whoa, really? So they go by the moon. While the practice of rituals and scale of celebrations may vary, most families still celebrate the 30-day or Manu of the baby's birth, as Manu marks the beginning of the child's life in the community. His impelling good health, happiness, and success are paramount concerns of the celebrations. The belief is that these goals are attained only if the appropriate words are spoken, the right behavior exemplified, and necessary ritual symbols used. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go to. It's just kind of getting on my nerves, and they knew it eventually would. Let's see, I'm gonna go to the placenta because I was wondering lately about, like I said first when I first started about the placenta. All the nutrients are in the placenta, and some people say they save that, and some people put it in, make a smoothie with it. It's had a lot of nutrients in it. So let's see what it says. Placenta transfer nutrients. Uh, It says abstract. The fetus is dependent upon the placenta for the transport to it of all nutrients from energy and growth. The primary nutrients crossing the placenta are glucose, lactic acid, free amino acids, free fatty acids, and keto bodies. Let me write that down. Glucose, placenta. Okay, it has glucose, lactic acid, free amino acids, free fatty. I'm assuming if you're eating right, acids, and ketone bodies. Okay. Under normal circumstances, it appears that glucose is the primary energy source. Okay. So glucose energy source. Primary. In abnormal conditions, there is the possibility that the energy requirements may be met also by protein amino acid oxidation and keto body metabolism. Also, protein. What is protein, y'all? I haven't found a good definition for that. Dr. Saber said ain't no such word. The fetus brain may be quite adept in the use of keto bodies. So keto bodies, brain. In all transport, I know what this word is, but I can't say it either.Ehen. This word right here. The placenta intervenes by deriving nutrients into its own intermediate metabolism. For more extensive consideration of these factors, several in-depth reviews are recommended. To better understand abnormalities of intravenous growth, we need much more special information about the mechanics of placenta transport and the intermediate metabolism of the placenta and fetus. When these are apparently in states of normal and abnormal intra growth, we can then consider methods of metabolic intervention, which will correct inter something growth failure and hopefully eliminate these hazards to the fetus and the child. That word is intra nutrient growth failure hazard to fetus and child. Okay. So, nutrients. Nutrients and hormones in heat-dried human placenta. Abstract. This cross-sectional study was assess the nutrients in terms of protein, fat, minerals, and hormones in heat-dried human placenta. 30 heat-dried human placentas, 15 from male and 15 from female, were analyzed for protein, amino acids, fiber, fat, moisture, minerals, sodium, potassium, phosphate, whatever, calcium, iron, magnesium, zinc, copper, magnesium, manganese, hormones, estradiol, progesterone, testosterone growth hormone. Heat-dried female human placenta has slightly higher fiber content than male, but protein and fat components were not different. Mineral levels in placentas were high, especially sodium, potassium. What the hell? Men got placentas? What's going on here? Mineral levels in placentas were high, especially sodium, potassium, and phosphate. There were so significant differences in the amount of minerals and hormone profile, profile between female and male placentas. However, hormonal levels in heat-dried placenta were lower compared to physiological level in human beings. The results of this study suggest that the amount of nutrients, particularly protein and minerals, in heat-dried human placentas were enriched. I have no idea what this is about. Placenta tales. My oldest baby tucks her mobile phone into her handbag and heads off to the disco. 14 years ago, she was still a bumpy under my jumper attached by umbilical cord and placenta. Okay. The placenta from the Latin for cake and the Greek platokinta meaning flat. Really? That's interesting. Placenta. But in Latin it means it's for cake. Ain't that something? Greek is plaokinta, meaning flat. Hmm. Interesting, huh? Wow, it's dinner plate size. Knotty flesh, upper mineral organ, Dinner plate size, knotted flesh, whatever that word is, organ that is rarely mentioned in polite, or indeed any company in the West. Most mothers cannot even tell you that their placenta, what their placenta look like. It is whisked away after birth to a communal bin and incineration. I think they sell them. Yes, according to your blood type too. Yet Merrill buried the placenta to emphasize the link between the baby and the mother. The Nepalese, oh, okay. Okay, these certain people here, I buried the placenta to emphasize the link between the baby and the earth. Oh, really? Wow. Okay. And then the Nepalese think the placenta as the baby's friend. Okay. They believe this. And the Malaysian or is, or it as the baby over. Interesting stuff. In Niagara, interesting, huh? Native Hawaiians interesting stuff. Placentography has a long history. Experts in traditional Chinese medicine have documented the practice for more than 2,500 years. For a rather weird Western variant, a list of placenta recipes for the September 1983 edition of Mothering Magazine is doing the rounds on the web. Placenta lasagna. Wow. Yeah, I found a lady. I don't know if YouTube gonna mess me up. But she was eating it, making a smoothie out of it. Some hospitals still sell placentas, what I told you, and I tell you they sold it, in bulks of scientific research or to cosmetic firms. And we know where else they sell it to them. Hospitals. So most of your makeup is made from somebody's placenta. Hello. Where they are processed and later plastered on the faces of rich women, who I told you. Using your blood and your nutrients that you need on their face to make them beautiful in their bodies. In the UK, babies are gently wiped dry, leaving some protective vermix clinging to the skin. In contrast, in Eastern Europe, vermix is scrubbed off the newborn skin with soap, water, and strap brushes. Vermix. The babies are then plucked, shocked, swatted, and painfully pink until the communal nursery bassinets. Into the communal nursery bassinets. This crude practice that can lead to hypothermia. Check that shit out, y'all. Now the other cultures put the baby in water for a certain length of time. Just keep washing them in water. You know how they do our babies in the thing. Scrub them all down and shit. Saying they gotta get all this stuff off of them and stuff causing trauma. It says it causes hyperthermia. Sneaky. UK, whatever the UK, America show gonna do. You know what I want to say, right? What is vermix? I have to look that up. Let's look that up right here. Let me finish writing this. I'm gonna look it up in a minute. Okay, that's the UK. In contrast, in Western Europe, vermix is scrubbed off the newborn. So they do it gentle in UK. Okay, my fault. Gentle in UK. Okay, sorry, y'all. Whoever listening. And then in Europe, yeah, Europe, whatever. Vermix is scrubbed off the newborn skin with soap, water. Traumatized, getting ready for saving, putting fear in you when. As for that other East London placenta, I missed the burial in Victory Park, but went along the next day to relive the moment with our friends. We stood with our tiny bodies in a hushed semicircle round a large empty hole in the flower bed. Perhaps you should have asked the park keeper first, said one young mother helpfully. Deep down, we all knew the more likely explanation. I can see them now, a bunch of ruckly local dogs chasing each other past his pensioners on park bench, their unbelievable prize tossed high. Some placentas are born to run. I don't know, y'all. So many things that's changed. It's just ridiculous. I say it says placentas can prevent postpartum depression, reduce postpartum bleeding, improve mood, energy, and milk supply. Let's stop and get that. Okay, let me read y'all what it says. It is safe to eat my placenta. Is it safe to eat my placenta? Eating your placenta after giving birth can pose harm to both you and your baby. The placenta is an intricate organ that nourishes the growth fetus by exchanging nutrients and oxygen and filtering waste products via the umbilical cord. The most common placenta preparation creating a capsule. So they create a capsule, but the Greeks didn't. Okay, we're gonna put that in the parentheses. It is made by streaming and dehydrating the placenta or processing the raw placenta. People have also been known to eat the placenta raw, cooked, or in smoothies. I told y'all, raw, cooked, smoothies, or liquefied. These preparations don't completely destroy the fetus bacteria and viruses that the placenta might contain. The Centers for Poisons Control, blah, 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 blah. I'm reading anyway. Prevention has issued a warning against taking placenta capsules due to a case in which a newborn developed Group B streptococcus, Group B strip, after the mother took placenta pills containing Group B strip and breastfed her newborn. So they say these things could occur. I'm gonna write it down anyway. That's the DCP, Disease Control Prevention issue warning placenta baby dot BSTREPTOCOCCUS after mother took pills. Yeah, they don't. I'm telling what they put in them pills. She didn't take it straight. Okay. Uh, the mother's breast milk was thought to be infected from the group's man-made pills, bacteria that she acquired after eating her placenta. So okay, I'll tell you the placenta. Group B strip can cause serious illness in newborns. While some claim that placenta can prevent postpartum, let me read the bottom of it. All right. Okay, they say research this highly by I don't know where you're gonna go because this is a delicacy. This is high price stuff, and they're gonna try to put they don't want you to get your right mind. It's like they stopping from eating buffalo and quail because it makes you smart. Um, so this is a delicacy. So I don't know where you can find this information from on how to eat it. Got a lot of people on YouTube. I did find a girl, but like I said, I can't see. I mean, I can't show y'all. Say, do hospitals sell your placenta after birth? Most hospitals do not publicly disclose what they do with the patient's placenta after birth, since it is a personal medical decision or your shit. It is routinely examined by pathology to be sure it has been completely delivered and shows no abnormalities. The hospital that have selected to work with birth tissue recovery allow our licensed program and train blah blah blah. I don't even want to read them all. It pisses me off. What does what uses does the placenta have after birth? Rich nutrients, and it is has unique healing properties after your baby is delivered. The placenta is often used to heal traumatic wounds and let me put that. Medical researchers and doctors use the placenta to help patients with eye injuries and disease. Ain't that a bitch? Wow. Without your knowledge, they making boo money off of your come out of your body and your baby. So we got basketball player, we got all kind of people in sport using our stuff. Okay, it says medical research and doctors use the placenta to help patients with eye injuries and diseases, for spinal and dental procedures, and for sports injuries. Y'all owe us some money. Basketball, football, all of y'all. So donating your placenta after birth is genuinely wonderful gift a woman can give forward to other humans. Ain't that a You may have heard the hip about the many benefits of eating placenta, but it is true. Here's a deal on possible pros and cons. Love her or hate her, one thing is true. Whatever Kim Kardashian West does, it makes headlines. That was certainly the case when she revealed she planned on eating her placenta after the 2015 birth of her son, Saint, to ward off postpartum depression. Kim, Libra, gang gang, by eating the placenta after childbirth, clinically known as placentaphage, isn't just a fringe Hollywood trend, with purported benefits from warding off the baby's blues to boosting a woman's breast milk production. It's become a practice more women are looking into as they prepare for birth and delivery. But while some parents wear, swear by it, some experts believe eating blah blah blah. And facts blah blah blah. But y'all doing all this shit here to my stuff, but y'all don't want to tell me that. Where is it at? Y'all selling it to football and basketball and all sports and stuff, but y'all gonna say it's dangerous for a woman to eat. Male chauvinist asshole. Can you eat your placenta? In short, yes. Placenta is an organ, and like other types of organ meat, duck liver, cow tongue, sweetbreads, it can be consumed. As for how to eat placenta, there are several different ways. It can be eaten raw or cooked. Some women grind the placenta and use it as a smoothie or as a meat-based ingredient in spaghetti or stews. But experts recommend working with someone who is experienced in preparing placenta instead of DIYing it yourself. If placenta hasn't been properly heated during preparation, there's higher risk of bacterial buildup. But what did the Greeks do? What the Greeks did? Where is it? Greeks didn't do all that. They put on their taste and ate it raw. Okay. What did they do? Dinner plate side, not in flesh. Yeah, I tell you. Go. What else I want to say about the childbirth? So, in doing all this, um, I think that it would be wise to find out how. Oh, another thing that the cord from the baby to the placenta, they cut it. No, they don't cut it with a knife or nothing. I seen the guy use. Let me see if hopefully I have it. I thought I took a picture, but I think it's a video I took. Let me see, what is this? Hold on, yeah. Because you never know. My sister was born in a car. So you never know, you know. It'd be wise to learn certain things. Where is it? I'm just gonna briefly show y'all. This girl eating a placenta. I don't know if y'all can see that. She eating a placenta. I hope y'all can see that. And he taking a string with gloves on and tying it around the placenta and breaking it like that. Now, how they clamp it to make sure it don't bleed, because they was talking about bleeding or air getting inside or something like that. That's why they put that little clamp on there, a little tight clamp. So you have to research more about that. I didn't research more about that. I didn't think about it really. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Um, Hope it interests somebody. But it's something that I think we should think about. A lot of stuff on our own, the way they be doing stuff, you know, go back to the old ways. I don't know anybody elderly around me that have to talk to some. I stay in a diverse area. I don't have to ask a lot of questions now. But yeah, so I hope y'all find it interesting. And this your girl Ruth signing off. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. I really appreciate it. And talk to y'all later. Y'all have a great night. What time is it? 12. All right, bye, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.